Well, we are all set for the semifinals, the final four of the Western and Southern Open in New York City this year. And what do you know? All of the quarterfinal predictions made last night on the show, all of them came true. We are undefeated here at Coffee Break Tennis. Mostly. To me, the most interesting match of the day was Milos Raonic and Filip Krajinovic, because somebody in the comment, we're going to read some comments later in the show today, by the way, but somebody made a comment yesterday, I can't remember who, I'm sorry if I'm not crediting your name, saying, Matt, basically you're crazy for saying Raonic can win the U.S. Open, but I think Raonic can win the U.S. Open because I think he has the tools to do it. Just take a look. After down a set and a break, several chances to break throughout the first two sets, but Raonic, despite playing well, just can't find a way. Krajinovic too hot. Guys coming up with amazing shots, big-time serves, getting out of trouble, dominating play. Down a set in a break late in the second set. Raonic breaks back, wins the second set, finds himself in more trouble later. This is why I like Milos Raonic. What does he do late in the third set when he's presented with a few break points? Big serve, and then, a lot of times players who rely on the big serves, they get the big serve in, and if the guy somehow returns it back, they can't finish the point, and then they crumble. But Milos Raonic, forehand, just as much of a weapon as the big serve, just about. Look what he does with this other break point.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Milos Raonic must have went to Consistency Camp, presented by Crunch Time Coaching. That's why I've got my Consistency Camp mug out today, because Milos Raonic consistently does things that you can't deny will win lots of tennis matches, even on a big stage. You got to be a believer in Milos. He was a Wimbledon finalist, and who knows what else he could have done if he hadn't been hurt so much. Just look at how Milos Raonic is able, he doesn't ever want to waste any energy out there despite being a good mover for his size. And he uses the forehand so well as a weapon, just like with the serve. Look at how he is able to dictate play with the forehand, not waste too much energy. And as soon as he has an opportunity to go to the net, which he's pretty good at the net, Milos Raonic, as soon as he has the right shot hit, he senses it immediately, goes to the net right away. It's one of the things I love about Steph Tsitsipas. Take a look at this. Milos Raonic always will have a chance, especially in this reduced field, because he's got these consistently comes up with great serves, great forehands, consistently looking to play offense, consistently looking to finish at the net and finish big points. On the other hand, Danny Medvedev, he's pretty consistent too, but his consistency didn't work out so well today. Take a look at this one. This is Danny Medvedev refusing to change his return position and consistently getting burned by the slider out wide deuce serve. This is ridiculous. Over and over again, RBA using the court speed, the slickness of this court to slide that serve way out wide in the deuce, and he was doing it as well in the ad side away from the Medvedev forehand. Highly effective. But RBA, he's a nice guy because he gave a little tennis lesson to Medvedev. He said, you know what, Medvedev, you're having so much trouble with my slider in the deuce court. Let me show you when you hit one of those how you should return it. There you go, Mr. Medvedev, a free tennis lesson for you. Today on Coffee Break Tennis, we're going to keep things short and sweet, but we are definitely going to look through the stats from the RBA Medvedev match because there's some pretty interesting stats in there. Also, we're going to read some of your comments, as I said before, and we'll take a look at some of the things Novak Djokovic was doing today in his win over Jan-Lennard Struff. A true beatdown. And of course, by the end of the show, we will preview tomorrow's super exciting semifinal lineup. So let's go right into these statistics from Roberto Bautista Agut and Danny Medvedev. I posted up on the Coffee Break Tennis official Instagram page something that I thought it was a pretty funny line, at least. And it said, Roberto Bautista Agut wins his match today by hitting several more unforced errors and less winners than his opponent. Try it out in your next tennis match. Doesn't sound like a good strategy. Put it on the screen. RBA 22 winners with 43 unforced errors. He almost hit double his winner number in unforced errors. Medvedev, more winners, 27 winners, 32 unforced errors, much less, 11 less unforced errors. He's a -5 differential, a -21 for RBA. How does the guy with -21 win the match? Pretty crazy. Well, this will help you out. Look at this, 88 points won each, dead even match. You hate to lose those matches where your opponent didn't win more points than you. 88% of serves returns when they were serving, the serve was put back into play. But this is one of the things about the fast court. Even though today, take a look at this also. Here's the weather. It's kind of a weird day. You know, you see all these highs in the 90s. They're coming right back tomorrow. Highs in the 90s, the court is going to be flying again. And then today, you got 78 as the high. But despite that, the court is so fast, so much faster than usual, that you still were able to utilize certain shots. You know, if you flatten it out into the corner or you change direction, you know, go up the line or cross court and you really hit it flat, you can't get it on this court. It doesn't matter how good of some of these movers are. And then the slice serve that I showed at the intro of the show, a lot of people have been making good use of that slider in the deuce court. It's something we see Federer do it. He hits it so accurately. He'll do it on every surface. But on a court like this, it's going to be even more effective. But take a look. One thing I've noticed throughout the tournament, I saw it with David Goffin a lot. You see it. It happens all over the place. Not happening with Djokovic. No, we should point out, Novak Djokovic is really cranking it up like he did at the Australian Open on the second serve. He's hitting the second serve. It's really big. And maybe it's because the courts are playing so fast, because I'm seeing some very wimpy second serves go into the box and just get crushed. We talked about it on yesterday's show a little bit, how I saw Felix Auger hitting a bunch of serves where it looks like he's trying to go out wide, but it falls somewhere between at the body and out wide, and it doesn't cut it. So take a look at these serve numbers. This is the telling stat. We're looking at all the stats from RBA and Medvedev, trying to figure out how did RBA win. He's got less winners, more unforced errors. They both won 88 points apiece. How does this happen? Well, look at these serve numbers. Medvedev is doing better on the first serve win percentage by 75% versus RBA's 60%. But RBA is getting a lot more serves in, 69% first serves in versus 56. That's a big jump. So in that case, I don't have the number in front of me here on my paperwork here, but I'm guessing win on first serve total points, probably pretty close number despite Medvedev being 15% higher. And then on the second serve, 40% is nothing special, but it's a lot better than 29%. And I think that was the difference maker, especially towards the end of the match. If you hit a wimpy second serve and you don't put it in a great spot, or you can hit the second serve hard, but if you don't put it in a good spot, it's very easy to counterpunch off the return on a fast court like this. Someone like Andre Agassi would love this. Just take a look at this, pretty big but missed slice serve. He's trying to jam Djokovic at the body. This is Jan-Lennart Struff towards the end of the match, and he tries to jam up Djokovic. Look what Djokovic is able to do with it. And then just to show you a little bit of, Djokovic able to use this court speed. He can absorb so much, and then as soon as he can get you out of position, he can pull it up the line or change direction, hit a winner pretty easy. Take a look at this. This is a play you see Roger Federer run actually a lot. You see a nice knife slice up the line, dragging the opponent into the forehand corner. And then you got to go cross court, right? If you drag your opponent on the run into the forehand corner, most of the time they're going to go cross court. Jan-Lennart Struff, you see he hits the cross court ball. It's too short, not enough on it. Couldn't set his feet. Djokovic spanks it up the line. And if you can flatten out, Djokovic consistently can hit a flat ball deep and in. If you can take advantage of court positioning of your opponent's out of position, take it up the line or change direction, you can finish points. Pretty easy. I got one more here for you. Another thing I like Djokovic doing on this court. Hit a deep, heavy ball, kind of push your opponent back, especially someone like Jan-Lennart Struff doesn't move forwards and backwards as effectively as some other players, and then drop them, bring them in, pass them at the net. Look at this, picture perfect from Djokovic here. So some really nice stuff from Novak Djokovic. He looks awesome. I think it's bad for Struff. It was bad luck that temperature dropped so much because he would have had a better chance to pull off the upset, but no one was expecting him to beat Djokovic. I said he had a chance on the last show, but Djokovic obviously gets that one. Let's look at the draw moving forwards. Djokovic is going to play RBA. It's tough to see how Roberto Bautista Agut can recover and beat the Djoker after Djoker has had a couple of easy matches now. I don't know. I think Djokovic wins that, but we know that RBA beat him last year at Miami. Where else did he beat him? He's beat him multiple times recently. RBA could be trouble for Djokovic. I just don't think he'll be able to come back after such a long, grueling match. Although temperature cooled off a lot, less humidity, so maybe, he'll recover better. That'll be an interesting match. I take Djokovic in straight sets on that one. More interesting to me, Milos Raonic, talking about how he consistently does things that I like. Broke out the Crunch Time Coaching Consistency Camp Super Cup. This is the toughest match for me to pick thus far through the draw, Tsitsipas or Raonic. The way Raonic was able to fight through such a tough match, I give him a slight edge because now he's going to have that belief when you come through a tough match that you can survive anything. We see it when people go on big runs and win big tournaments. You see that a lot. You'll see a tough match halfway into the draw, and then they go on to win the tournament after almost losing. So I give Raonic a little edge over Tsitsipas, and Tsitsipas didn't get to play a full match. Plus, how much rhythm do you get in a serve-a-thon battle with a guy like Riley Opelka? So I give Raonic a chance, I give Raonic an edge, but that's going to be a tough match to call. That's the match to watch tomorrow. Obviously, you want to see RBA because you never know if he could pull off an upset against Djokovic, but I think this time he won't do it. That's about it for the draw. We will be as fast as we can get a video up tomorrow after those matches. I'm pretty excited about that because, we're most likely going to get Djokovic versus a really in-form, good-looking Raonic, a rematch from the Australian Open, or we're going to get Tsitsipas, who's one of the few people that you would say could change things and actually win the U.S. Open and stop the GOAT domination, at least for one slam. So that'll be awesome stuff in the final and semifinals tomorrow. Let's take a look at some comments, and then we shall get out of here. Nixon021 says, if you were talking about stats from the match with Berankis where Novak was playing with neck problems, so he's saying, that's not a good example. Yeah, you're right. Djokovic had some neck problems, but still, it wasn't only the neck. He was still playing pretty well despite having some issue with his neck. Berankis, the only point I was making was when you step in and flatten it on this court, the way these courts are playing so fast that you can take it to anyone, even the greatest defender in the world in Novak Djokovic. So that was my only point. I think it's still pretty valuable point to make, even though there were some neck issues. I mean, they weren't that serious. They were gone the next day. Dominic Thiem doesn't know how to play hard and fast courts that well. Well, he did pretty well at the Australian Open, despite the new balls being slower and the courts being a little slower this year. He did well at the World Tour Finals when he really took it to Novak Djokovic. These U.S. Open courts, I think, are a little faster than World Tour Finals and Australian Open from this year and November of last year. Also, he said, maybe Djokovic won't win Cinci, but he will get his number 18 in 3 weeks. I mean, that's what everyone thinks right now. But I'm telling you, there's a few guys like Steph Tsitsipas, he might show us that he has what it takes to pull off a big upset, especially when you consider the fast courts make the likelihood of that happening much higher. We haven't seen courts this fast. We haven't seen, I guess the Australian Open 2017 is the fastest. The only time we've seen slam, I was looking this morning, I was trying to find some Wimbledon readings. The only thing I could find was a CPI of 36. This court is already playing at 42. The fastest courts. Let's go to the next one because this is actually a tour de force says, I pray for the day we at least get 1 or 2 courts that have a fast index. I think it starts at 45. I've never seen a court that fast. Yet, 20, 30 years ago, they were very commonplace. Right. No one's seen a court that's truly fast on the ATP Tour for several years. Anytime you look up CPA data, just Google it, court speeds, CPI, court pace index, and look at the images. You'll see several graphics that they've put up over the years on ATP Tennis TV, and none of them break that 45 barrier. I think 2016 Shanghai is the closest it's ever been. I think it was 44 point something, 44.6, something like that. So, yeah, there aren't any fast courts. Right now, we're sitting at 42. This is about as fast as it gets on the tour. The Australian Open 2017 is the only time we've seen a major this fast, even with Wimbledon, in the last 10-plus years. So that's why I think, going back to the last comment, there's some potential for upset against Novak Djokovic, despite him being a good fast court player. So let's just put that out there. It's more interesting than it would have been if the courts would have been the same as last year. Bibhu Carr says, Federer would beat Novak here? LOL. When did Federer last beat Novak on a hard court at a Grand Slam? I don't think I was even born back then. Again, I'm basing that more on look at Wimbledon last year. Federer was so close. That court was obviously, Wimbledon last year was pretty slow, but it was a very low bounce. It was the right kind of surface for Roger. Low bouncing and much faster. I think Federer would have he would love his chances. It's a shame. I hope the courts are this fast next year. because Federer, even though he's going to be almost 40 years old next year, he's going to think that he would have a chance to beat anyone on courts this fast. Moving on to Sam from St. Croix. Matt, a question to answer in your next show. Do you think that if a next generation wins this tournament, it'll give him the confidence to take his game to the next level and become multi-slam winner? Or do you think it won't make a difference because not every big player is at the tournament? Hit the music. We're getting out of here on that one. I don't think there should be an asterisk at this U.S. Open because we do have Djokovic. If we had no big three, there'd be a little bit of an asterisk. That would be kind of a nightmare, even if someone, let's say Cinci were to win the U.S. Open and then go on to be a multi-slam champ. It wouldn't feel right if he didn't have to beat at least one big three member in his big major breakthrough. But to me, the reason why it's no guarantee that they go on to be a multi-slam winner, because, at least we have Djokovic here. That takes the asterisk out. All the other usual suspects who are supposed to eventually break through, they're also here too. We're just missing Roger and Rafa. I think the real reason why we should say no guarantee they become a multi-slam champ if a next-gen guy, again, I keep saying Tsitsipas, he's the one I like the most right now, especially with the faster courts, his ability to play the net and know when to go to the net better than the other next-gen guys, also with the big serving and big flat strokes on this court. Let's say he does it. If he does it, just look at the women's tour. I don't think any of these guys, we're spoiled by the big three winning everything and we think it's normal. But what's more normal is probably looking at, we have had some great champions over the years, but a lot of people, they win despite, being some really talented players out there. They win one and they never win another major again, or maybe they win two. So there's no guarantee that if anyone breaks through and has a great run and wins, no guarantee that it won't be just like the WTA and we don't see any repeat major success for them. All right, we will be back tomorrow after the super exciting Western and Southern Open semifinals. We'll get a show up as soon as freaking humanly possible. See you.